Value Rare Canada stamps from 1903 to 1908. The 2-cent Canadian dollar 1908 stamp. It is part of the collection issued on the occasion of the 300th anniversary of the founding of Quebec, province of Canada, located east of the Confederacy. On the center, 2 faces are shown. To the right, the face of King Edward VII, ruler of the United Kingdom, and the British Overseas Dominions. For 9 years, from 1901 to 1910, Canada before becoming independent. It was a colony of the British Empire, until 1931. To the left, the face of Queen Consort Alexandra of Denmark, Edward's wife, and daughter-in-law of Queen Victoria. Above picture, the inscription Canadian Post. Next to the 2 dates, 1608 year of foundation, and 1908 year of issue of this stamp, and celebration of the 300th anniversary. Under the inscription commemorating in the French language the 300th anniversary of Quebec. This territory, before it became a British colony, it was under French rule. This is why the writing is reported in French. Bottom on the sides, the nominal value of the piece, or 2 cents of the Canadian dollar. Stamp issued in 35 million copies. It is 26 millimeters high, 38 millimeters wide, and worth $25. The 1908 5-cent Canadian dollar stamp. It was issued to mark the 300th anniversary of the birth of Quebec. On the center, you will notice a representation of a set of interconnected buildings, created by the navigator and explorer Samuel de Champlain. Lived in the 17th century. Believed to be founder of Quebec in 1608. In fact, it's a small neighborhood, enclosed in a fortress. First village, which expanded over time. Top on the sides, the year 1608. Foundation year of Quebec. Next to the inscription Canadian Post, followed by the year of issue of this stamp, i.e. 1908. Below the dates, the nominal value of the piece, or 5 cents of the Canadian dollar. Below the picture, written in French, Quebec House, indicating the anniversary of this piece, or 300th anniversary. Stamp issued in 1,200,000 copies. Today it is worth $60. The 1908 Canadian 7-cent stamp depicts the faces of the 2 army generals engaged in the 7 Years' War, from 1756 to 1763, which involved the main European powers. To the left, the face of Louis-Joseph Montcalm, French general, who fought in North America to defend the autonomy of French Canada, later died in battle. To the right, the bust of James Wolfe, British general, fighting against Montcalm's army. In the opposite lineup, fought in Canada against the French during the 7 Years' War. Also died in battle. Both generals. They were great protagonists in the defense and conquest of the Dominion in Quebec. Top on the sides, the classic dates 1608 and 1908, commemorating the 300th anniversary of the founding of Quebec. A little further down, the nominal value of the piece, or 7 cents of the Canadian dollar. Under the faces, the surnames of the 2 generals are reported. A little further down, the recurrence of the 300th anniversary. Stamp issued in 700,000 copies. Today it is worth $80. The 1903 Canadian dollar 5-cent stamp depicts the bust of King Edward VII, ruler of the United Kingdom, and the British Overseas Dominions. For 9 years, from 1901 to 1910, Edward, son of Queen Victoria, he found himself managing the largest colonial empire on the planet. He is remembered both for his excellent oratorical skills as a diplomat, and like being the uncle of Europe, because he was a relative and direct uncle of several monarchs who ruled on the European continent. For example, he was the uncle of Tsar Nicholas II of Russia, uncle of the German Emperor Wilhelm II, uncle of King Alfonso XIII of Spain. Above picture, the inscription Canadian Mail, with on the sides the two royal crowns. Below the picture, the nominal value of the piece reported both in letters and numbers, or 5 cents of the Canadian dollar. Stamp issued in 66 million copies. It is 25 millimeters high, 21 millimeters wide, and is valid in the philatelic market. $85. The 1908 Canadian dollar 15-cent stamp depicts in the center French soldiers, along with local Native Americans. In fact, the colonization of Quebec by the French is represented. Up. The inscription Canadian mail, followed by the nominal value of the piece, or 15 cents. Top on the sides, the year 1608, foundation year of Quebec, and 1908, anniversary year of the piece. Below the picture, written in French, Department for Western Quebec. That is, the section of the French army engaged in colonization. Under the inscription of the 300th anniversary. Stamp issued in 300,000 copies. Worth $125. The 20-cent Canadian dollar stamp, 1908. Depicts in the center of sailing ships, representing the arrival of Jacques Cartier on Canadian soil. Indeed, Cartier. He was a French explorer of the 16th century. Then in 1535, landed in the lands of Montreal. Today it has become the most populous and largest city in Canada. Above picture, written in English, Canadian Post, with the nominal value of the piece reported both in letters and numbers, or 20 cents. Down, the inscription in French that commemorates the event of the landing of Cartier on Canadian lands. Following, the inscription 300th anniversary of Quebec. Piece that is part of this commemorative collection. Stamp issued in 304,000 pieces. Today it's worth $150. The 1903 Canadian dollar 50-cent stamp. It is very similar to other pieces. On the center, the bust of King Edward VII is depicted, ruler of the United Kingdom and the British Overseas Dominions, which Canada was a part of. Above the bust, the inscription Canadian Post. Under, the nominal value of the piece, or 50 cents of the Canadian dollar. Bottom on the sides, number 50. Stamp issued in 500,000 pieces. It has the particularity of being dark violet in color. Its color makes it highly sought after in the philatelic market. And today it is worth $600.